Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at listing 3.1 in the book, and we might add to 3.1 as we come about. So I'm going to actually give this a name and some proper documentation. So I'm going to go to chapter 3. I'm going to create a new class, and I'm going to call this addition quiz, and make sure I use public static void. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do the / and this is CIS150 web, Professor Jeff Thompson, or Professor Thompson. I am Jeff Thompson, and I am doing this 9/27/2024. This is my 4th recording of it. And this is a program to quiz users on addition. So since we're going to have user input, we need to get our scanner in. And now we're ready to begin. So first I'm going to set up, we're going to create 2 random numbers. And we're going to do this multiple different ways. 2 random integers. Integer number 1 is going to equal, we're going to cast it as an integer, and we're going to ask for the current time in milliseconds. And we're going to do modulo division by 10. So what this will do is it'll grab something off of the time, and then it's going to divide it by mod 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the last digit. Is it evenly divisible by 10? If so, we'll get 0. And if it isn't, we'll get the remainder, which will be any digit from 1 to 9. And so this is not a bad way of generating numbers. Well, from a security standpoint, it's a bad way because you can guess time codes. And so for a more proper randomization, we'd want to do some random numbers generation, which we'll look at a little bit more. And then I will create the scanner object. So scanner, we're still going to call it input, and we're going to make it a new scanner, and we're going to attach it to the keyboard. And so we're going to ask the user an addition quiz. So system.out. And I'm going to go to a printf because I know they're integers. And so I'm going to go %d plus %d equals question mark. And then because they're waiting for arguments, I'll put in number 1 and number 2 into my format statement. And for right now, I can run this. I'm not going to take the user input. I just want to make sure my outputs are coming out okay. So I'll run it. And I get 0, 0. Well, I guess our time is too close together. 9, 9. So what I'll do is I'll move 1 decimal place over by doing a division by 10, and then in my modulus, and this should get me 2 different numbers. 9 and 8, 5 and 1. Yeah, good. We've got some randomness to our numbers. So notice when I used the same numbers, the system time was too close. I didn't have it down to nanoseconds, and so I had to shift over some decimal places by doing the division by 10. This part up here where we're generating the random numbers, don't worry, we'll change some things about it. But remember, this gives me a number of milliseconds. It's a long, and I'm casting it to an integer by doing these divisions on it first. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask. So we'll take, let's make a integer for user answer, and we'll have a space for the user answer. Initialize memory for user answer. And so I'll come down here and we'll put into the user answer the input.next integer. And for right now, we're not going to take care of errors in the user input, but we'll get that from the user. Integer user answer equals input.next scanner input. And then what we'll do is we will look to see if the user was right or not wrong. So we'll go system.out, we'll do the printf, and so we'll go %d, the number 1 plus number 2 equals, and then we'll show the user answer is, and then we will show the Boolean. So let's put our format statement in. And then so we'll have number 1, comma number 2, and then in user answer. And then we want to know if it's true or false. And so I've got to flip over to 4.6 and figure out a Boolean is a %b. So %b. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a Boolean statement in here. So again, when my lines get big, I'll let Java bring me down here. And so I'm going to do a comparison. So I'm going to compare the user answer. Is it equal to number 1 plus number 2? Again, I'll use multiple lines if need be. So let's analyze what we did here. I am printing out 2 random numbers and I'm asking the user to give an answer. Then I'm checking to see if they're right or wrong. So we'll run 4 plus 8. I'll try to be a clever user and I'll say 12. And so 4 plus 8 equals 12 is true. But if I run this again, 9 plus 8, well, that's 17, but I'll say 12 again. That's false. So the Boolean is checking, and it's checking our user answer versus what the addition of the numbers are. So we have this ability to decide the falsity or truth of a comparison. Again, I'm going to do the same thing your book doesn't do a lot of. I'm going to close my scanner when it's done. That's just good for me here. And that should now be closed. Let's double check. 10. So 10. Yay. So we have a way of checking. So right now we have a good little example in this addition quiz that at least lets us know if we're right or wrong.